Bitcoin whales keep on selling. Since the beginning of 2025, they've secured over $20 billion worth of gains. Bitcoin is right now consolidating in a very tight range and a massive breakout is incoming. In which direction we will discuss in this video. Hello ladies and gentlemen of the Paradise Club, this is Simon from My Crypto Paradise, and Bitcoin is still trading inside of an extremely tight range. Together with that, the Fed made its decision yesterday and left the rates unchanged. What does it mean? It means that it's still quite expensive to borrow money, and it will be reflected on the charts, ladies and gentlemen, mainly on altcoins, because altcoins are retail coins and basically retail doesn't have too much funds to spare at the moment. So right now we can take a look at the Bitcoin chart and we can understand that we are either creating an ABC zigzag formation or actually an impulse that will take us towards $135,000. What we need are confirmations, and we have got some already. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like we are breaking below this ascending channel and we are creating some reclaim because we have broke to the downside below this supportive trend line with a nice volume above the moving average volume trend line, and then we have retested that into a resistance. It was working as a support, as you can see right here and right here, and after we have break to the downside we have retested that is the successful bearish reclaim, and we have retested that and turned it into a resistance. So until we can cross back above this resistance, ladies and gentlemen, if we cannot also take a look at the inside of the channel again, it will mean that we will continue to go to the downside. We need some confirmations for that, right? So what actually increases the bearish probabilities right now is looking at the RSI indicator. If you take a look at the RSI indicator, we are creating lower highs, but the price action is making equal highs. What does it mean? It means that we are creating a bearish exaggerated divergence when the price is creating equal high, but the indicator is making, in our case RSI indicator is making lower high. It means the momentum of the bulls is decreasing, and that is why the price cannot break above the previous resistance, which is this one. And until we can get some proper bullish volume which will get us back inside of this channel, this is ABC, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to the downside towards $109,000, right? If we can reclaim back inside of this channel together with this resistance and we can go back into this channel and turn it back into a support, the fifth wave will be ending at $135,000, because this is not going to be no longer ABC, but it will be 1 2 3 4 5 impulse. And as you know, impulse from our Elliott wave perspective is a motive mode wave, right? And it's basically trending within the larger trend. If however we will start creating 5 moves to the downside, we are changing the trend from bullish into bearish, and we will be positioning ourselves with the Paradise VIPs aggressively based on that. After we finish that 5 moves to the downside, that will, as the higher degree first wave, okay, finish at $109,000. So ladies and gentlemen, we need to wait for some more confirmations. How can we get them? Well, first off, we need to understand what pattern are we creating right now, and if it's going to be an ending diagonal, it means that we are creating the C wave, because the C wave is a motive mode wave, right? And that motive mode wave subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves, and the fifth wave can be an ending diagonal, and this is pretty nicely looking as an ending diagonal. However, it can be also a contracting triangle, and as you know, contracting triangles are continuation patterns. That means after this consolidation we are going back in the trend, right? We are continuing the trend, which is right now bullish. It is also called as a bullish flag, but the most important thing is that this is a continuation pattern that continues in the same trend as it started, okay? So right now let's have a look at what's going on the 4-hour time frame. We will go quickly through everything, because in the previous video I have been explaining to you all the insider data, what the whales are doing, what's going on behind the scenes, what actually help us to understand what's going to be the highly probable next movement. So go and watch the previous video after watching this one, because in this one I will go just through through some technical analysis because Bitcoin didn't move much, right? We have retested this support, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, it worked pretty nicely as a properly analyzed support should act, and we have not been able to have some absorption below, right? So we have ended up just with a wick out. Will this change? Was this just to get rid of the sell walls that been basically placed below it? And when the sell walls got hit, basically after that we have got them liquidated, right? So this is this kind of purity of movement. What the market makers are doing, they are preparing themselves for a big move, right? So then they can basically create a smooth move to the downside or to the upside. So right now we are creating two patterns on the medium time frame. One of them is this head and shoulders pattern, where this is the left shoulder, head and right shoulder. As you know from our website mycryptoparadise.com, this is exactly how you can trade it. It is explained in the article, ladies and gentlemen, where to place stop loss, where to place profit targets. But the most important thing is that you need to wait for a proper confirmation if you want to make highly probable trades, all right, with the highest probability. If you want to go aggressive, really aggressive, you need to get as much confluences and as much probabilities on your side as possible. Otherwise, you need to play very, very carefully first, okay? But what will be the biggest sign is breaking, and not only breaking, reclaiming the neckline right here, and then we will have the target $109,000 that I have been already analyzing for you in the previous videos, right? So what I want to see is basically a nice reclaim below this support, turning it into resistance. Then we will be able to go aggressive, and we will be targeting for a medium time frame target for the first major zone, $109,000. It doesn't mean that it will end here, ladies and gentlemen, but it will be a great demand right here to do some trade management, like placing stop loss to break even if you will be entering short or are in short. I don't know what is your trading strategy, or doing some kind of management in your overall tactics in entering and exiting your positions that you should be using, right? The other thing we are creating, so this is basically supporting, that would be supporting that this is ending diagonal. But as you can see, it might be also a contracting triangle, right? Where basically we have created the 5 moves inside of the triangle, all corrective mode waves. The same thing, however, can be for ending diagonal. We will be talking about ending diagonal as well. This would be a reversal pattern. This is a continuation pattern, okay? For that contracting triangle, you need to make sure that this was just a deviation, just a fake out to liquidate some over leveraged long positions right here, and we need to hold above this descending trend line of that contracting triangle, right? So if we will be dropping back below it, it will increase the probabilities for bears, and if we will reclaim the neckline properly, it will definitely be very, very, very bearish, right? What will be bullish, what I want to see for confirmations, if I am about to start looking at some long positions with the Paradise team inside of Paradise Family VIP, we are sharing our personal trades with clear entry and exit targets. I want to see a clear reclaim of this resistance, ladies and gentlemen. You know that we have been creating here a bearish divergence already. I have been sharing that with you in the previous video. I have told you, here is the absorption. We have been looking at the footprint, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen the big buy market orders being absorbed by institutional sell limits, right? So you know exactly what's been happening right here. So I want to see new buying momentum entering into the market. I want to see a clear reclaim of this resistance into a support, and that will be the only case where I will go aggressively from a swing trading perspective, bullish, okay? After we will hit this resistance, I will be immediately moving stop loss to break even for sure. But this reclaim would increase the probabilities that this is the contracting triangle, which means this is a fourth wave, and we are about to go towards $135,000, which is from the ultra high time frame perspective the next major resistance area, okay? So right now we are waiting for the confirmations, ladies and gentlemen. If you take a look at the low time frame chart, let me also share with you the volume right here, because you can clearly see who is in power right now. Who is in power, ladies and gentlemen? Take a look to the upside. When we start pumping to the upside, take a look at the volume decreasing, okay? When we go to the downside, increase in volume, upside decreasing, to the downside increase in volume, upside decreasing, to the downside increase increase in volume to the upside, decrease in volume. Well, this is basically how you should be analyzing volume. Otherwise, why do you have the volume right here? This is to understand who is in power, who is more stronger right now, and it's clearly visible that it's bears. Okay, it's bears right now, they are stronger. So until I can confirm that there is some new buying pressure from big institutional players, some big whales, I will be entering into some swing long position. Not until then. All right, if we take a look at the low time frame chart on 1 hour time frame, we can see how clearly we are creating an ending diagonal. So it is also possible, okay, if this wasn't the deviation from the contracting triangle, basically a fake out, this was a break from that ending diagonal that was already finished, and it was actually our first wave of our new motive mode wave in an opposite direction. Ladies and gentlemen, as I have already told you, if we are creating impulse in some direction to the upside or to the downside, it means that the impulse is always trading within the larger trend. So if we will spectate 5 moves to the downside, it means that we are changing the trend from a macro bullish into macro bearish, okay? And we will be ready as always as the first ones. You know that we are always prepared for everything, and we have been calling the major bottoms and also the major tops. And this is one of the reasons, because we are being very careful on the lower time frames. That's how we can predict and be positioned nicely for the bigger time frame stuff. And this is what swing trading and professional trading about, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you need to have a proper risk reward strategy, because when you are trying to catch the next major trend, you will experience some losses during that, right? If you are a really great trader, the losses will be limited. And if you are a really great trader, then you can maximize your profits once the moves come in your direction. So right now we are consolidating for over a month already, ladies and gentlemen. Only 5 few movements to the upside, like 3% to the upside, to the downside, and it's getting smaller. All right, so this is perfect for scalping, but swing traders are being prepared for a big move. Okay, the big move is going to come, and in Paradise Only VIP we will be doing our best, as always we do. We will be doing our best in catching the next big move, either if it's going to be to the upside or to the downside. We will be prepared. Okay, so right now it means that we are maybe creating first wave to the downside. If we are creating a new impulse, this was the secondary wave, ladies and gentlemen. And now pay attention, this is important. If we cannot break above this resistance, we are creating a third wave. It will be confirmed once we start breaking below the low of this first wave. Okay, and as you already know, the third wave, ladies and gentlemen, will be ending at $109,000. So until we can reclaim this resistance, ladies and gentlemen, it seems like we are creating impulse, and the third wave will finish right here. Then we will have a fourth wave and fifth wave, but that's about upcoming videos. As you know, I'm recording every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday for you right here. If you are getting some value from these videos, smash the like button, and I will see you again next time. Cheers.
My crypto paradise.